had you contacting us in your drawers recently was our story about monthly bin collections.
Yeah, now the aim of monthly collections is to make us recycle more and send less to landfill. So it might come as a surprise to find out that one of the most popular pieces of food packaging that we routinely send off for recycling ends up going straight in the ground.
Obviously, fresh is best, but sometimes to be quick and convenient, you succumb to a ready meal. You might think, as it's made of plastic, the tray it comes in can always be recycled, but it can't. So it all comes down to a colorant in trays like this called carbon black. Now, recycling machinery uses infrared detectors to select the plastic that's going to be recycled. The carbon black blocks the beam and effectively makes this plastic invisible. So, trays like this go to waste. Currently, 1.3 billion black plastic food trays are needlessly sent to landfill or incineration each year. Frustrating for keen recyclers like me and confusing. So how many of us actually know what can be recycled and what can't? To find out, I've joined packaging expert Mark Shaler to put customers at the Quills Cafe here in Rochester, Kent to the test. Are you ready, Mark?
Ready?
Lids off, go. What do you think? First, aluminium.
Yes. You all got this, right? Aluminium can be recycled forever.
Clear bendy plastic.
Reuse. We love a bit of reuse, don't we?
How about red plastic?
This will be picked out at the recycling station for recyclability.
Finally, the black plastic tray.
Yes. I'm afraid that you're going to go to the bottom of the class for that one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this causes real problems in the recycling stream.
But it doesn't have to. Scientists have already come up with a new kind of black tray which could be recycled, saving the taxpayer nearly £3 million a year in disposal costs. But no one's using it. Why not?
No one wants to go first. Who goes first? Do the guys at the recycling plant make the investment? Do the packaging designers build the new material in? Do the local authorities change what they do?
It seems the standoff is getting in the way of common sense. So here at the One Show, we want to do something about that. We're bringing everyone involved in the recycling chain together, from supermarket to council to recycling companies. We're meeting at the Viridor recycling plant in Rochester, where they've trialled a system that can pick out the new black plastic trays. First, Martin Kay from the inventors Next Tech is going to show us how it works. For the plastic to be identified as being recyclable, an infrared beam, which shows up as a greenish blob, needs to shine through it.
If I pass through our standard black plastic tray, you can see that we are losing infrared, and this plastic will not be sorted or identified.
And what about if you try a bit of your plastic?
In this case, our infrared beam passes through the black plastic, which means that this plastic will be sorted and identified correctly, and this material will not be lost from the recycling centre.
So simple. Sarah Heald, who works for the recycling company, shows us how the technology works in practice.
We're going to take some of these old style plastic trays and we're going to put them on the conveyor belts. We should see the black plastic trays come out if they haven't been picked up in the process, and there we can see them.
Right, okay. These would eventually be sent for incineration or landfill. Next, the new ones.
And here you can see the thinner belt, where the new black plastic trays will be picked out if they've got through.
There they go. So we know it works, but recycling plants would have to tweak machinery and supermarkets need to start using the new black trays. Ian Ferguson is from the Co-op. So your brand, Ian, is known for its planet friendliness. Why aren't you already doing this?
Well, the Co-op's got an ambition to make it easy to recycle all of our packaging, and this would be a major step forward. We need all the other sorting facilities to adopt this technology before we start to put it into place on our brand.
If you take the plunge, if you do it, then they will have to follow.
We can't move before they tell us.
The recycling plants won't make that change until the supermarkets use the new trays. But what about the councils? Joanna Dixon is from Medway Council. Okay, what do you think, Joanna? Do you like that technology?
It's fantastic. To see this kind of developments in Medway is just brilliant.
Okay, so when are you going to sign up and make that your recycling default?
Well, it would be slightly tricky for us because we're locked into a contract. We just need our technology to catch up. And thankfully, these guys have shown the potential to do that.
So you need your recycler to switch to this system.
Well, we need the manufacturers to make the trays have the special content.
Disappointed face. I need to hear commitment.
The will is here, but it's a case of who goes first. The changes would cost less than 1/10 of a penny per tray. To me, a small price to make a big difference.
That is going to come as a big surprise, isn't it?
Yeah.
To a lot of people. 1.3 billion!
It's a huge figure.
Oh
isn't
yes,
it?
yes it is.
And it's quite confusing because as we saw in the film there, the packaging for these trays is saying that it is recyclable, but most local authorities can't recycle them.
Yes, so WRAP, the Waste Action Resources Programme, one of the things they're charged with doing is telling the local authorities, giving guidance, giving clear guidance, which is no mean feat because I think we covered this before, there's nearly 400 different recycling schemes across the UK. So last week they came out with their annual advice, they updated it and they said to local authorities you should regard these trays as non-recyclable. So I've spoken to a few people in the industry and they are a bit disappointed because they think they're on the brink of change, especially if the retailers and the manufacturers take it on. They can technically do it and now we need the retailers and manufacturers to push it forward. So I suppose that might mean that in a year or so householders are getting a different advice from their local authorities, which is confusing, yes.
Now, you brought some of your recycling in.
I've got some boxes.
I'm very intrigued. What do you want to start with? Which one do you want to start with? Because this is stuff that we are sending to be recycled where actually it can't be recycled.
Yes. Well, let's start with the pizza box because
This shocked me.
to all intents and purposes, corrugated cardboard, we're quite good at recycling.
You'd think, good thing.
Except, look at that disgusting grease in there. And this grease fuses to the paper fibre and when they try and pulp it, they can't separate them. So you could use your initiative and just rip off the nice clean bit and maybe they would recycle that. But overall, because of the grease, it's a no. Sorry about that. Sorry.
If it's got cheese on it, don't send it.
No cheese, no recycle, that's the motto. These little packets, you see baby food, pet food in these laminated pouches, very difficult to recycle because they have different plastics fused together, sometimes with aluminium. Most local authorities can't do those. Now these used to be my bugbear. These are cleaning products with this trigger gun, which is used to be all different plastics. Couldn't recycle this. Could possibly recycle this, but who's going to separate them? But now, good news on that, they've taken the metal bits out, most manufacturers, so these can be chopped up and recycled in the recycling process.
Very good.
Good news.
Not soap dispensers. I hope this is all going in. These have still got the metal bits and stuff in them, so they can't be. So manufacturers, please do better with these.
Yes. How good are you both at recycling? Is this a terribly boring subject, or do you get excited by putting things into different bins?
No, I mean, I'm very passionate about it. I think people should do it. And I think some of this is appalling. I'm appalled.
Yes, good. That's the emotion I want.
No, Lucy, thank you. Thank you for raising awareness.
Yeah.
Very well. Now, as we mentioned at the top of the show, Simon Callow starred in one of the biggest British